Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm working on different projects again. In this case, it's going to be a full-on outfit. And the outfit will have multiple pieces, namely a chest piece, which is what I'm doing today, and a leg piece, which I will do on the weekend most likely. Yeah, this is in between fixing my whole library, which is just time consuming. It's not complicated, it's not hard, it's just time consuming. And that is why I sometimes put it off, among other things. Yeah, the chest piece, you can see the base is the Genesis 2 female bodysuit that I made myself. Yeah, this is what I started with, and for the chest piece I actually gone and made this by hand. I could have just copy pasted part of the chest piece, but I actually wanted to make this by hand simply because in this case I can variate on a few things, on a few pieces, and also since I planned to thicken this from the very beginning, I knew that with the bodysuit I would run into trouble, because when you load up a former built piece sometimes, or in this case, yeah, the model tends to break when you try to thicken it, and I knew this was gonna be a viable possibility with this one, so I decided to just make this one from scratch. One other reason was just that I wanted to iterate on the shape a bit. This is supposed to be a bit different on the shape, especially on the shoulders, as you can see, and this is why I went with a newly made model here. The whole thing is multiple pieces. The base, which is the whole black bodysuit, or yeah, the black in the corner. The red armor piece, which is what I'm currently working on. At least I call it an armor piece. You can see I'm doing a light bit of modeling here on the actual thing. I'm just putting in these two lines that you can see on the actual rendered model as well, simply to just give it a bit of flavor, a bit of fluff, because otherwise it's just a very plain structure, and this is not it's not appealing simply. So I went ahead and just iterated a bit on the shape without giving it too much texture. So you can of course try to make a complete texture, which is what I'm doing with hair usually, and in this case I decided against it. The next piece I did was the neck piece, the whole neck ring thing that you can see on the side and also in the final render. This gave me a bit of trouble because the model in itself, I had to make sure that it was fitting with the shape underneath, and this just took more time than originally expected, and it was a bit more difficult because I had to make a new shape. I didn't want to copy paste in this case, also just to brush up on my own skills. So yeah, you can see that I'm extruding again the next steps basically, and then I just cut away the pieces that I don't need. This is, in my opinion, easier than just extruding the middle piece and then extruding to the sides around the neck, but this is also a viable possibility. So if you are faster with actual modeling, then because maybe you have a bigger monitor or you have a better workflow with the viewports and moving around in them, then modeling this around the neck is also a absolute viable possibility. But yeah, I decided to just use the extrusion tool because this is more or less the main tool I use for a lot of stuff. yeah, thickening the whole thing. And then I grabbed most of the edges and did a few iterations with the connection tool to, yeah, fit this around the neck and also fit it to the armor. So you can see that this is made fitting to the armor. Next thing I did was make the chest ornament piece, which, yeah, is something the AI came up with. I basically just went and had a few iterations on different things I did. Like I had power armor in there, I had a few other terms in there that relate to Warhammer 40k, for example, or other things, and just saw what would stable diffusion give me, and with the with the results as a basis, I made this piece. Yeah, if I didn't say it yet, I want to make a set, so there will be a leg piece as well on the weekend. Most likely the leg piece will include shoes or boots as well, so we'll see how the whole thing turns out. Yeah, for the centerpiece, I wanted to make it a bit asymmetrical, which is why the kind of broken shape of the center, and I'm really happy with how this turned out, because this is basically very it works well with the whole thing. It is very basic, it's not intruding, but it is still there, and it pulls the viewer somewhere, so they basically can check out the whole thing and not just be greeted with flat surfaces. Shoulder piece is again modeled with a grid as a basis, just a plane that I then altered a bit. Yeah, shoulder pieces is a big Warhammer 40k thing, and I just felt like including one as well. Yeah, the whole thing is one piece, no joke included here. Yeah, and later on, obviously, I copy pasted the side to the left side of the body to the right side, over left side from our perspective, not from the model's perspective, of course. I totally didn't just make the false sides. Anyhow, the arm piece is, yeah, again, very simple tube, a bit of welding the points at the side, a bit of extrusion to just make it a bit visually more appealing, and something you know of me by now, the usual the edges that I just copy paste and then thicken. Main trick here is just to create the illusion of depth, so the whole thing looks relatively massive because the edge is relatively big in comparison to others, and it just gives the whole thing the illusion of being relatively thick and stable, while it's just being a plane. Yeah, and that's it. UV mapping for the main piece is relatively simple. I could go and make a video about just properly modeling or UV mapping the main armor piece, the main body piece, which is the Form 5, the torso piece, so I can actually put on different opacity maps or bump maps, but this would just take a lot of time, and UV mapping is something I'm just not familiar with, something I'm familiar with to an extent, but not enough to actually make this good looking in any way. So currently I'm not really looking into this. And yeah, UV mapping the hands is a thing for themselves. That's it for this video. I hope you like the content. And I hope I will see you in the next one when I do the second piece. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you guys around.